Farrah Fawcett was one of the most recognizable women in the world, a Hollywood icon whose smile and unforgettable hairstyle became symbols of an entire generation. Yet behind the glamorous image was a woman whose true story remained largely hidden. In 2025, her name has returned to the spotlight for reasons far beyond nostalgia. Her bronze sculptures have sold for nearly $500,000 at auction. Younger celebrities are embracing her signature feathered hairstyle once again, and new revelations about her final years have sparked fresh conversations. While many remember her beauty, far fewer understand the personal struggles, sacrifices, and battles she fought behind the scenes. Born Mary Farrah Lenny Fawcett on February 2, 1947, in Corpus Christi, Texas, she grew up in a modest, conservative household where discipline and faith shaped everyday life. Her mother, Pauline Alice, stayed home to raise the family, while her father, James William Fawcett, worked as an oil field contractor to support them. Money was never plentiful, so the family learned to appreciate simplicity and hard work. Raised in a strict Roman Catholic environment, Farrah developed a quiet determination that would stay with her for the rest of her life. From an early age, Farrah displayed remarkable creativity. By the age of 5, she was already winning local art competitions, showing an impressive talent for drawing and sculpting. Her artistic abilities would remain an important part of her identity, even after she became one of Hollywood's biggest stars. As she entered W.B. Ray High School in Corpus Christi, her natural beauty quickly attracted attention. She was voted most beautiful all 4 years of high school, an almost unheard-of achievement that reflected both her appearance and the confidence she quietly carried. Teachers also remembered her as disciplined, focused, and hardworking, qualities that would later define her career. In 1965, Farrah earned a beauty scholarship to the University of Texas at Austin. She initially planned to study microbiology, believing science might become her future. She joined the Delta 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 sorority, settled into campus life, and seemed destined for a conventional path. However, her striking photographs soon attracted widespread attention. After being named one of the university's 10 most beautiful co-eds, a Hollywood publicist noticed her potential. That single moment changed everything. At just 18 years old, Farrah made a decision that surprised many people back home. In 1967, she left college and moved to Los Angeles with little more than determination and the dream of becoming an actress. She did not have powerful industry connections or overwhelming family support. Instead, she relied on her own belief that she belonged in Hollywood, even if success seemed uncertain. The road to stardom proved far more difficult than she had imagined. Auditions often ended in rejection, acting opportunities were scarce, and money was tight. To support herself, Farrah worked as a shampoo girl while modeling for print advertisements whenever possible. Life was modest, and every small opportunity became another step toward the career she desperately wanted. In 1969, Farrah made a controversial decision that immediately divided public opinion. She posed nude for an Esquire magazine photo shoot, believing it might help launch her career. Instead, the photographs generated significant backlash. Some admired her confidence, while others believed the decision had permanently damaged her reputation. For a time, Farrah feared she had ruined her Hollywood future before it had truly begun. Ironically, the publicity made her impossible to ignore, and casting directors who had previously overlooked her finally began paying attention. Around the same period, another unexpected trademark began taking shape. Farrah embraced a soft, feathered hairstyle inspired by the carefree beach lifestyle she had loved growing up in Texas. At first, casting executives dismissed the look as too wholesome and too traditionally American. They believed it lacked sophistication. Audiences, however, completely disagreed. Her hairstyle became one of the defining fashion trends of the decade, appearing on magazine covers, posters, and television screens around the world. What critics initially viewed as a weakness ultimately became one of the most recognizable images in popular culture. Despite her growing fame, Farrah remained surprisingly shy and deeply connected to her family. Her parents often hoped she would abandon Hollywood and return home to a quieter, more stable life. In 1968, she briefly left for Japan to pursue modeling opportunities, hoping a change of scenery might provide new possibilities. Instead, the experience left her feeling isolated and homesick. Living far from home taught her how lonely success could become. When she returned to Los Angeles, she did so with renewed determination, convinced that if she was going to build a career, it would be on her own terms. Success finally began arriving at an astonishing pace. Shortly after returning, Farrah signed with a major modeling agency, and within months she had appeared in more than 100 television commercials for major brands including Max Factor and Noxzema. Her warm smile and approachable personality earned her the nickname, the Girl Next Door. Yet even as lucrative opportunities increased, she remained committed to protecting her personal values. During this period, Playboy repeatedly offered her substantial amounts of money to pose for the magazine. Industry executives argued that revealing photo shoots were the fastest route to lasting fame, and agents encouraged her to accept. Farrah consistently refused every offer. Although rejecting such opportunities cost her valuable work in the short term, it also established a reputation as someone unwilling to let Hollywood dictate every aspect of her public image. Farrah's film career officially began in 1969 with the French comedy Love Is a Funny Thing, directed by Claude Lelouch. Although her appearance was brief and contained no spoken dialogue, working on a professional film set gave her invaluable experience and introduced her to the realities of movie production. It was a small beginning, but an important one. Her first speaking role arrived in 1970 when she appeared in Myra Breckinridge alongside Raquel Welch. Based on Gore Vidal's controversial novel, the production became notorious for its chaotic atmosphere and explicit content. Years later, Farrah described it as one of Hollywood's sleaziest experiences. She admitted feeling pressured into accepting the role, largely because of her relationship with actor Lee Majors. Although the film performed poorly with critics, it increased her public visibility and brought new attention to her career. Throughout 1969 and 1970, Farrah continued building her resume through guest appearances on television series such as The Flying Nun and Mayberry RFD. While audiences enjoyed seeing her on screen, she became increasingly frustrated by the way producers emphasized her appearance rather than her acting ability. Scripts were frequently rewritten to highlight her beauty instead of giving her meaningful performances. Feeling trapped by Hollywood's obsession with her looks, Farrah became determined to prove she possessed genuine talent as an actress. Her personal life was evolving just as quickly as her professional career. In 1968, she met actor Lee Majors, and their romance quickly attracted widespread media attention. Their relationship increased her visibility but also introduced new challenges. Friends later claimed that Majors often encouraged her to give up modeling and focus entirely on their relationship. Although the pressure created growing tension, Farrah refused to abandon her ambitions. She continued working, determined to build a successful career despite the personal struggles beginning to emerge behind the scenes. In 1976, Farrah Fawcett's life changed forever with the release of a simple photograph that became one of the most famous images in American history. Wearing a bright red swimsuit and flashing her unforgettable smile, she posed for photographer Bruce McBroom in a picture that would sell more than 12 million copies. The poster became a cultural phenomenon, hanging on bedroom walls across the country and transforming Farrah into an international superstar almost overnight. Yet while the world celebrated her beauty, Farrah struggled with being treated as little more than a glamorous image. She wanted people to recognize her creativity and intelligence, often trying to include her own artistic ideas in photo shoots to shift attention away from her appearance and toward her talent. That same year, Farrah landed the role that would define her career. Cast as Jill Monroe in Charlie's Angels, she instantly became the breakout star of the hit television series. Premiering on September 22, 1976, the show attracted enormous audiences and quickly became one of the biggest television successes of the decade. Her feathered hairstyle, radiant smile, and natural charisma captivated viewers around the world. Although millions admired her glamorous lifestyle, the reality behind the scenes was far less glamorous. Production schedules regularly stretched to 18-hour days, relentless media attention followed her everywhere, and despite carrying much of the show's popularity, she earned only about $5,000 per episode. As the series grew more successful, Farrah became increasingly frustrated with the direction of her character. She wanted Jill Monroe to be portrayed as intelligent, capable, and emotionally complex rather than simply another attractive face on television. Producers, however, were more interested in preserving the glamorous image that was driving ratings. At the same time, growing tension at home added even more pressure. Lee Majors reportedly struggled with the overwhelming attention surrounding his wife's success, and their relationship became increasingly strained. By the end of the first season, Farrah had reached a difficult decision. She would leave the biggest television show in America in pursuit of more meaningful work. Her departure in 1977 stunned Hollywood. Walking away from a contract worth millions of dollars seemed almost unimaginable at the height of her fame. Producers attempted to convince her to stay by doubling her salary to $10,000 per episode, but Farrah believed the issue was about far more than money. She argued that she deserved a fair share of the merchandising profits generated by her image, requesting 10% instead of the small percentage she was receiving. When the studio refused, the disagreement escalated into a highly public legal battle. She was hit with a $13 million lawsuit, faced threats of being blacklisted from the entertainment industry, and became an example of what could happen when an actor challenged the power of major studios. Although the dispute was eventually settled and she later returned for several guest appearances, the conflict damaged her career and left lasting scars. Even so, her willingness to stand up for her rights helped inspire future conversations about image ownership, merchandising, and fair treatment for performers. By the end of 1977, Farrah Fawcett had become one of the most recognizable faces in the world. Her image appeared on lunchboxes, dolls, board games, and countless other products that generated millions of dollars in merchandise sales. Yet despite her extraordinary commercial success, she remained determined to prove that she was capable of far more than simply selling products or smiling for cameras. She wanted respect as a serious actress, even if achieving that goal meant risking everything she had already built. If you'd like, I can also rewrite Part 3 in the same polished, cinematic biography style for a seamless 32-minute script. After leaving Charlie's Angels, Farrah Fawcett faced the greatest challenge of her career. Hollywood expected her to prove she could succeed beyond television, but the transition to film proved far more difficult than anyone imagined. Her first major opportunity came with the 1976 science fiction film Logan's Run. Although the production featured an impressive cast, elaborate sets, and strong box office returns, critics focused heavily on Farrah's performance. Many felt she had been rushed into the role before she had the chance to develop as a dramatic actress. For the first time since becoming a global sensation, she experienced the sting of widespread criticism and realized that fame alone could not guarantee respect. The setbacks continued with Somebody Killed Her Husband in 1978. Intended to be a suspenseful mystery, the film failed to impress audiences or critics, and many reviewers used it as another opportunity to question her acting abilities. Making matters worse, she appeared opposite her husband, Lee Majors, at a time when their marriage was already beginning to unravel. As professional disappointment mixed with growing personal tension, Farrah found herself struggling on two fronts. By 1979, the couple had separated, and their divorce was finalized 3 years later. The collapse of both the film and her marriage marked one of the most painful periods of her life. Determined not to surrender, Farrah continued searching for roles that would allow her to escape the glamorous image that had defined her career. In Sunburn, 1979, she played a clever con artist and even performed many of her own demanding water stunts. Despite her commitment, the film failed commercially and attracted criticism for its unnecessary nude scenes, which Farrah later admitted she regretted filming. The disappointing reception earned her another wave of negative reviews, reinforcing Hollywood's belief that she belonged more on magazine covers than in dramatic films. Her next project, Saturn III, 1980, proved equally difficult. Starring alongside Kirk Douglas and Harvey Keitel, Farrah found herself under pressure to perform scenes that made her deeply uncomfortable. Several controversial moments were eventually removed from the final cut after poor audience reactions, but the emotional toll remained. The film struggled at the box office, critics were unforgiving, and Farrah once again became the target of harsh reviews. Instead of moving her career forward, the experience left her questioning whether Hollywood would ever allow her to be seen as a serious performer. Success briefly returned with the Cannonball Run in 1981, one of the year's biggest box office hits. Yet even this triumph carried heartbreak. During production, Farrah's stunt double, Heidi Von Beltz, suffered a devastating automobile accident caused by serious safety failures on set, leaving her permanently paralyzed. The tragedy deeply affected Farrah and changed the way she viewed the film industry. Behind the excitement of blockbuster success, she witnessed the devastating human cost that could accompany Hollywood productions. As the early 1980s unfolded, another challenge emerged. Hollywood increasingly viewed Farrah through the narrow lens of beauty rather than talent. She turned down several high-profile opportunities, including the chance to become a Bond girl, because she feared those roles would only reinforce the glamorous image she was desperately trying to escape. Meanwhile, unsuccessful financial investments created growing economic pressure, forcing her to audition for television projects she might once have overlooked. The woman who had once dominated magazine covers now found herself fighting simply to be taken seriously. Everything changed in 1984 when Farrah accepted the lead role in the television film The Burning Bed. Portraying Francine Hughes, a woman driven to desperate action after enduring years of domestic abuse, Farrah immersed herself completely in the character. She spent weeks researching the real events, rehearsed relentlessly, and even subjected herself to emotionally exhausting exercises to understand her character's fear and trauma. Her unforgettable performance stunned audiences and critics alike. The film earned her an Emmy Award nomination and finally demonstrated what she had believed all along, that she possessed remarkable dramatic talent. Later that same year, she appeared in the legal drama The Guardian, portraying a determined attorney handling emotionally difficult child abuse cases. Although network edits removed several of her strongest scenes, viewers still recognized the emotional intensity she brought to the role. Once again, Farrah proved she was capable of delivering performances far deeper than the glamorous image Hollywood had long assigned to her. Her commitment to challenging material became even more evident on Broadway. In 1983, she starred in Extremities, a powerful stage drama about a woman who fights back against her attacker. The emotionally and physically demanding production pushed Farrah to her limits. Night after night, the performances became so realistic that audience members sometimes believed the violence was genuine. Security personnel remained nearby during performances, and Farrah often finished each show bruised, emotionally exhausted, and in need of therapy to separate herself from the character. Yet the production transformed public perception, earning widespread praise for her courage and emotional depth.